In this video, we're going to show you how to publish your master server, the one from the Nazi Zombie series tutorial, to Gearhost, as well as transfer the information from the database over to it as well. So I'll be showing you how to do all of that here in a second. So to begin, assuming you've already made an account, when you log in, you will be met with this page here. Click Add Cloud Site, and it'll take several minutes, but once it's finished setting up, open it up. Click on Publish. However, I'm not going to click on that because it shows my FTP information and I don't want to have to edit this video. Then somewhere down about where my mouse is, you will see a big button that has the Visual Studio logo on it. So you're going to want to click that and it'll download your published settings file. And that's what we're going to use to actually publish our project to Gearhost. So once that's downloaded, go to our Visual Studio project, find the project name, right click, go to Publish. Then under Publish, we're going to want to click Start, Import Profile. We're going to browse to where we downloaded it. Mine's Downloads folder, and we have our published settings right here. Open that up, hit Finish, and then we simply press Publish. Now, by default, this is not going to work. There's going to be an issue just the way kind of everything's set up, and I'll show you how to resolve that here in a minute. Now, once it's loaded, you'll see we have a runtime error. So that's something we need to fix, and if you read the details, it's asking us to allow us to see custom errors. So we go to our web.config, and we enable the custom errors tag. We set the mode to off. It shows us how to do it right here. So we just copy that section, Control C, go to our web.config, go to the very bottom, and we're just going to paste it in like so. So Control S, go back to our World of War master server and press Publish again. This time, as you can tell, we can actually see the errors. So we come down here to stack trace, a route named help page default is already in route collection, and the route names must be unique. So we're going to copy help page underscore default, go to our project, Control F, make sure current project is selected, and paste help page default in there, and we're going to find it. See, we only have one instance of it. So that's in our help page area of registration.cs. We have help page underscore default. Let's rename this to help page. Be a good name. It's just help page main. Give it just a different name. We're going to go ahead, go back to our master server, and press Publish yet again. As you can see, now it's actually loaded. So we can go back to our web config and comment out our custom errors section. So to do that, it is open bracket, exclamation point. I think those are called hyphens. Then at the end you do hyphen, hyphen, closing angle. Do that for all three of these just to comment them out because they're no longer really needed to be there. And Control S to save and close our web.config. Next up, we can actually test this. So if we go to our hostcontrollers.cs, we have this getter, so we pass in an ID and it will return the string value. So let's go ahead and test that. So it's pretty much this, but in case yours is blank and I'm just doing postman to test it. It's game test server.gear.host /API/host, then any number. Press send. See, it returns value. So that means our web API is up and running. So that means we are pretty much good to go here. Next up is the database. So you're going to go to databases, hit Create Database, and select MySQL, the free one, and create an empty database. Now once that's done, you'll have all of your information inside of there that you need, but we're going to go ahead and set that up. So if we come over here to our home, add a new Mysql connection, and the host name will be pretty much whatever you're at. What do you call it? Well, it's listed in the page once you click on it. Again, there's information there that I don't want to show you. So you paste that in there. It'll give you your username as well as password. So for password, just hit store in Vault and paste in the password and give it a connection name. Mine, I called it Gearhost War to War. I've already transferred my data over as well as the procedures. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those and show you how to do that. So let me go ahead and drop everything, as well as the table. This is what you'll be met with. So I also have all my files here. I'm going to delete those as well. So to begin, I go to our local database that has everything already set up properly. We're going to go to Server, Data Export, check War to War data, and make sure server data is checked. Set this to dump structure and data, dump stored procedures and functions, export to self-contained file, and I cannot remember. I'm just going to go ahead and check include create schema. Up next, let's give it a different name. Mine, I'm just going to call it World at War Dump. Then we're just going to simply press Start Export. Then it'll finish. This is not going to be very straightforward on importing because there's going to be quite a few issues that we're going to have to just kind of gradually fix. So we're going to compare to server, data import, import from self-contained file. We're going to browse to War to War dump and press open. And start import. And now we have to start fixing crap. First issue, line 1, unknown collation. So copy this guy right here, Control C. Open our War to War dump in Notepad. Press Control F. We're going to find all the lines that contain that. We're going to replace with, I believe it's called generic ._CI, like so, and hit replace all. We're going to save and press import again. Okay, so it's not called generic. What was it then? Maybe it was general. So again, replace all, Control S to save. Did you not save? Oh, I know what I did. Search for generic and replace with general. Okay, so that fixed that issue. Now we're met with another one. So access denied to database world underscore at underscore, War to War data. So we need to rename all of the things that say War to War data. So we're going to Control F again, replace War to War data with War to War data without any underscores, like so, and hit replace all. Control save again. Now press stop, and you cannot press import again. We just got to close this little guy here. Server, data import, and essentially just do the same thing again. So select your War to War dump, start import. And wait for another issue probably, yep. So we fixed that one. Now we have another one. So 1227. You need a super privilege for some operations. So it's on line 60. So let's go down to line 60. And it's when we go to actually create our procedures. So we need to figure out what it wants. So in order to test that and just see, what we can do is Again, we're in our Gearhost word-to-word data database. So we're going to go to Stored Procedures, right-click. We're going to create one and just simply press, I'm actually just going to name it Test so I can find it very easily. Hit Apply, and Finish. I'm going to go to Server, Data Export, leave all the settings the same. Just going to name it Test Dump. Or export a self-contained file, press Start Export. Continue anyway. Wait till it's finished. Here we have our test dump. Let's open that up and go to where we create the procedure. So right here, as you can see, there's a difference. So we have the definer equals word-to-word data and %. Whereas here we go based off our root. So we need to fix that. So go to testdump.sql. After the equal sign on a definer, copy from single quote to single quote. Come over here to word-to-word dump. Highlight from single quote to single quote. Control F. Replace. We're going to replace it with what's in our test dump. That's SQL. So hit replace all. We replaced 4 of them. Control S. Let's go back to our data import. Everything's still the same, which it is, and press Start Import again. This one's taking a bit longer, so we might be good. Alrighty, so import has finished. So now what we can do, right-click, or up here right-click, refresh all. Now we have our data table for server data, as well as all of our procedures. So we can grab our current procedure, the one we just made, right-click, drop it. What am I doing? If we look at our procedures, get all, we have add server entry, all with everything already set up. So now have our Gearhost set up and hopefully good to go. So let's go ahead and just, I guess just add a random entry. Give it a quick test, server ID, test. Like so, hit apply. Let's see, one of these has to be something different, doesn't it? Oh, server ID. Let's give it 111111 and apply. Finish. So we now have this entry here. Back to Postman. See, it should just be the get request. And that returns all the servers. So we're just going to remove the 1 and simply send. Okay, that returned us an empty array. And I just realized the reason for that is that our master server is not actually connecting to our Gearhost database. So in the, I'll leave that up for you because I don't want to show my connection string or anything like that and have to create a new one. But all you have to do, I've already have a video on this when we created our initial MySQL database, is you set up the connection string, which that was all set up in database interface class. So we have our connection string set up. You just have to alter it to suit your new database. So like I said, I already have a video on how to do that. I just hid my password and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And hopefully everything should be working. So I want to add a quick little example video at the end of this. Once I go ahead and replace my connection string, I will show you the result. So I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. I went ahead and published, well, made the change to the connection string and published it. but pretty much the information is the same. That is click database, click your database. The information to connect to it's there, the host name, the username, the password, and what you're going to change for the actual database name is just war data without any underscores, and you're good to go. So now, here's my data table with this entry here. Go to Postman, I press send, so I send my GET request to get all the entries in that table. And here's the one element with all of the correct information. So we are now making a connection to our web API that is hosted on Gearhost, and that is sending, well, running our procedures on the database and returning the information that we want and sending it right back to us in Postman. So the only other change we have to make now to actually use it would be a change inside of Unreal Engine. So we can go ahead and I guess literally just make that change. So it's going to take me a minute to load up that project due to how kind of slow everything's been being. So I will load up the project and see you in a minute. Ready? We now have the war-to-war solution open. And the two classes we want to have open are the Nazi Zombie Beacon Host object and the Nazi Zombie Game Instance base. So we go to the Nazi Zombie Beacon Host object.cpp, go down to set server data. Here's our URL. So as you can see, it's set to our local host. It's not set to where we actually want to go. So for example, if I go to Postman, get old results, that's the URL. Update that to our latest one. But I want to clean this up so it's only found in one place and that it's easily accessible. So Nazi Zombie Game Instance base, we're also using it, but I want to set that URL string inside of Nazi Zombie Game Instance base. Okay, so it is an F string. So what we're going to do is go to our Game Instance base class, HTTP module. I want to do a const F string. Just call it web API URL. And I'm actually just going to set that directly in here. So now let's get that URL. So it's what's it called? Your cloud site name .gear.host /API/host. We're going to copy that, simply paste it right in and have it construct it. Head back over here. Just going to make sure that it follows the same form real quick. Which it does. So we should be good to go. So now we have this string here. I want to create a public function to get it. Under here, I'm going to do public, return a constant string, web API URL, or get web API URL. Return web API URL. We're able to make it return a reference to it. So we have this function here. Go ahead and start the compile. Let's go over to Nazi Zombie Beacon Host object. Get the game instance. So if a Nazi Zombie game instance base, call it GI for game instance, equals get game instance is a template. So a Nazi Zombie game instance base, to include it, copy the include, paste it in for Nazi Zombie beacon host object, like so. What are you complaining about? I think I spelled it right. Oh, I thought it was alright, so it's you Nazi Zombie game instance base. Never mind. So then we have the game instance. Do GI get web API URL. It's pretty much what we're going to do here. So if we can get the game instance, perform the request using game instance get web API URL, like so. Otherwise, we're just going to print our log. Failed to make post or failed to cast game instance. So now let's copy this and replace it for all other uses of set URL. We have update server data, doing the same thing again. This time we're using a put request. Let's copy the else. We have our if else. Doing anything else. We have our shutdown server, so we're going to do that here. Let's copy that one more time. Shutdown server. And we have our else with the log in it. And I think that's the last. Yep. Okay, a quick little interjection. And I just realized why. So for example, when I hit back and leave the lobby to shut down the server, it doesn't actually shut down. I realized that somehow I completely overlooked, for example, shutdown server. I never changed the set URL, and same thing with update. Here it is, the update server data function. So that we need to fix. So let's start with shutdown server. I'm going to go ahead and shut down the engine real quick. So as you can see, it's the path, and we're going to go ahead and add our server ID to it so that way we know which server to shut down. So as you can see, it ends with a forward slash. So I want to go ahead and go to our game instance base and add a forward slash to it just to make things easier and keep them, well, just neater. Go back to Nazi Zombie beacon host object. We're going to change our URL here to GI get web API URL. And hopefully that should work. I'm going to go ahead and compile. I'm going to go ahead and head up to update server data, where we did the exact same thing, except we add a number at the end of it, just any number to for our put request, as shown here. So we're going to go ahead and GI get web API URL plus, we're just going to simply add 1 to it. So it's this string like that. So then we're going to go ahead and compile and give it another test. I'm going to go ahead and delete that server entry. Here it's cleared out. Give it a try. We have the server ID, all the information. Change the name. Set it to map 2. Max players, let's do 8. Press OK. Refresh. And max players 8. Map 2. Server name, all that changed. We leave the lobby. It should, yep, it deleted the server for us. So that's one thing I forgot to do. So I'm going to edit this into, I have it recorded in like 4 separate videos, so I'm going to try to edit this in where it makes sense. Yeah. So anyways, back to whatever was going on before. Hopefully this was helpful. We did quite a few things in this, and it was a little bit of a pain to get everything set up to Gearhost, but now that it is, we are pretty much good to go. So anyways, now that this is all dealt with, if you like what I'm doing, feel free to support me. I link to my Patreon in the description below. And if you have any questions or anything like that, you can also find a link to my Discord server down there as well. And as always, I will see you in the next one.